because they have their intelligence. So as an individual, for me, Edo is free, it's safe, election can hold there. If they like, they postpone it in the next 3 days, the next 1 week, in the next. In fact, from your paper, it shows from what the governor said. It means he was even privy.
No, the governor says go ahead with the election.
The governor said from what I heard, is that governor said that provided they should not postpone the election for too long or something like that, in one of the papers.
Yeah, so, maybe you're talking about Vanguard.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, yeah, Daily Times says Oshomole urges electoral body not to shift poll dates too far.
Too far, that gives an impression.
No, but it says APC is ready.
If they didn't misquote
APC is ready to bury the...
For me, Edo people are ready, and I am very, very sure. It is not, let me tell you another thing, it is beyond the political parties. It is about the candidates. And that's another fact that many Nigerians may not know.
But if the governor is aware, would it be out of place if he's the chief security officer of the state?
Sorry?
If the governor is aware, can we impute any meaning to it? Because number one, he's chief security officer.
Well, to me, that doesn't even matter now. If they postpone the election, they don't do. Edo people are ready, are determined to do the needful.
And you say from history, without a mention of any political party or candidate, that the Edo people have always been swayed by individuals and not political parties.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's the thing that went for Oshomole. That is just the truth. Edo people, they look at the individual. The party plays a role, but I must tell you, what really sways them is the capacity, the individual that is at play in this election. And it's quite clear, the truth.
So if INEC then, because they having this meeting and this consultation, you say they've got till October 12 or is it 18 to hold elections?
October 12, I think they have.
So if they postpone these elections, we'll all have to live with it.
Well, I'm sure it's going to get the people much more prepared in my own view. You had this, in fact, what I was thinking they were going to hinge the postponement on was this GC issue. But curiously, the civil society, I monitored your program yesterday, the civil society had even, with INEC, in conjunction with INEC, had found a solution around providing buses, something like that.
Doesn't that mean some kind of disenfranchisement for those who are 18 years, especially first-time voters? If we are saying you are moving me, who's just turned 18, out of the state because I had an exam to write, you have just disenfranchised me.
Suleiman, I totally agree with you that I will not even want one person to lose his or her vote. I agree with you. I'm not questioning the postponement per se. In any case, you have less than about 1,000 students that are writing the GCE exam. 1,000 in about 1.something million voters. So it doesn't really. But even at that,
that's very crucial.
That has been given. That would, in my mind, as a legal mind, that would have probably satisfied that section 26. Sub 1
in
of
politics,
the electoral
1,000 votes.
Yes,
in politics.
I agree with you, but that is not the reason being given now.
Well, yeah.
That is my point. That's not the reason, and that is why it's not satisfying the electoral act, and it's giving room for suspicion.
Let's get Markway in on this one. Markway.
I'm just wondering if there. It looks like a catch-22 situation, really. If you look at where the security agencies are, where the government of the day will be, and even where INEC will be, because it would look like there's almost nothing. I recall that the conversation that Shemu was having with some of the spokesperson there. They said the PDP said that they had wind of this, and one of the reasons that they gave was the students who had staged a protest to the governor's office. They said that that was a ploy already in the works to try to postpone the elections. But you say that for you would have been a cogent, verifiable reason. How so, if I may ask?
Absolutely. Chamberlain, they just said it, because I would not be in support of a situation where about 1,000 students, possibly about 18 years, most of them are taking private GC, probably would have been 18 years because they are private candidates. So we assume that if not all of them will be about 18 or above. So I will not be subscribing to a situation where not even one person will be disqualified or prevented from voting. So if they had used that, that's why I'm saying that would have made more reason in consonant with the Electoral Act than just a bogus intelligence report.
So do you
go ahead.
In other words, you actually do not believe this intelligence report in any way?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't. And I'm sure most Nigerians don't.
Come to think of it, this is a standalone election, just Edo State going into the polls. Sorry, Mark, for a moment here. Just Edo State going into the polls, and one wonders if the security apparatus can't conveniently take care of whatever threat that will be coming from Edo State, since everyone can be deployed to the state.
Thank you very much. In fact, the Constitution is very clear. The first principle of government is to provide for security of life of property. In fact, I was actually trying to just make it mildly. It means the government is telling us that they have failed in their first responsibility. That is the meaning. Because election is constitutional. It's a process for choosing our leaders. If election didn't hold in Yobe, in Adamawa, in Bonu, this president will not be there because he got over 3 million votes from those places. And the election was lost or won by him with less than about 3 million. So it means if election had not taken place in those 3 states, this president will not be there. So that would tell you the reason, the more reason why, we should take such this government should not have even come to tell us about intelligence.
But the thing is, it's not the government, it's the police.
Well,
so government will tell you police is doing their job.
It is absolutely clear under our law. The president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and the police is under the direct control of the executive, headed by Mr. President.
On that, we'll come to take a moment now, and we'll be back shortly. Join us again. Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. One is just wondering, at the end of the day, because all eyes will be on INEC now, what will they do? Because when they eventually have that meeting, we'll then decide, because at the moment, we're not sure, because we just spoke to Shane, they've not started distributing those materials. So it means, who knows, they may just postpone the elections, but is this going to be at any cost to the people?
Well, yes, definitely. People would have made the preparations and all that. Definitely there will certainly be a negative cost, because you have to now ask what kind of cost. Is it a positive cost? But to me, I think it's going to be on the negative side in terms of planning with the people, rescheduling their activity and all that. So to that extent, yes, it will be a cost on the people, and maybe on INEC too. As a matter of fact, the biggest cost, which I think Nigerians will really be worried about, which I am worried about, is the confidence on the electoral process.
That's what I actually wanted us to look at, because if you look at it quite lately, first they were bogged down with inconclusive elections in different parts of the country, and now with the postponement maybe coming in sight. What does that mean for INEC?
Yes, and that's why I said earlier on that I just pray that, though now that everything is going into recession, our electoral process will not go into depression. And you know what that means. Because if confidence is eroded in a system, you just need confidence. And if INEC, over the last couple of years, INEC's confidence was going up. Unfortunately, after Professor Jega left, you've seen a dwindling confidence by Nigerians. And once people lose faith in the electoral process, we're going back to the dark days. And I don't think that is good for our country.
And then what about the kind of confidence we have in institutions doing their jobs? Because if you say, I mean, rightly so too, the president is the commander-in-chief, but it doesn't interfere, that's what they always say, in how the police or any of those agencies carry out their functions. Does that then mean that we can take whatever information they give us seriously? Why would it be with a pinch of salt?
Rightly or wrongly, the buck stops on the president's table. the buck stops on the president's table. I don't expect the list of, not the list. I don't want to believe that the National Security Advisor to the president will not be aware of this postponement. I don't want to believe that, because I expect the police and the DSS, before they make anything public, they would have gotten clearance from the Office of the National Security Advisor, who is by extension responsible to the president. Even
though the president was there previously for the campaign, and then I didn't get this
that even gives more reason.
It's a little bit confusing.
Yes, it's even confusing, and it is that state of confusion that we are saying that we should not allow in our nation as a people. That is giving room for people not to begin to doubt the credibility of this president upon which he came in.
Mr. Robert Obafosu, a public affairs analyst and a legal practitioner, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's the program today. We thank you all for watching and for your comments as well. We'll be back tomorrow. Who knows what INEC would have decided on the time. I'm Chamberlain also.
Many thanks. We still have our team live there in Benin City, the Edo State capital, to bring you up to speed on what is happening. I'm Sulaiman Alede.
Well, fingers crossed. That's how I'm keeping it. Let's see how things eventually pan out today. Thank you. I'm Maokbe Ogun.
Most of us live our lives without ever really understanding how connected we are.
Stay back, stay back.
But then one day, something happens. Something that changes the way you look at the world.